Okay, we are live. Wonderful. Let's see if the internet connection will be friendly today. I don't know. You never know with these things. I'm going live at a sort of a later hour. It's 5 past 7 in the morning here in Norway, which means that we might get a more civilized discussion in the chat. Um, and I won't go into details about why. Hi there, KP Hidden. So, are we entering an age of dictators? I made the mistake of looking at some of the comments on my live stream, not the chat, but the comments after I did live stream. Hi there, Carl. Was it yesterday? And first I thought, okay, let's talk about nationalism. In Norway, that's not a dirty word at all. Norwegians are quite nationalist. And coming up now, tomorrow, we have the national celebration, 17th of May, where we celebrate our constitution. And to those fucking idiots out there, excuse my French, oh, sorry to all the French people here, who are thinking that the USA is the most special and most perfect country in the world because we're not a democracy, we are a republic, and we're a republic because we have a constitution. Well, other countries have that's not special. In fact, in Norway, we celebrate our constitution. That's our national celebration day. That's tomorrow. Yes. And when we do that, we are being very nationalist, but it's in a positive way. We are proud of ourselves. We are proud of who we are, our national identity. And I think it's a good thing. It can be a little bit too much. Everyone's getting drunk at breakfast and all of that. But, it's a good idea. It's a good celebration. I support it. Okay. Bad nationalism. That's when you have some guy up in this little box up in like among the spectators, but he has his own little booth or box there where he stands like a fucking idiot watching the military march on parade, showing off their tanks and their big rockets being wheeled past him, as if the guy has some kind of major issues with his manhood, so that he needs to compensate for something there. That's bad nationalism. That's bad nationalism. And this should be obvious, right? Now, Norway is a democracy. We have a high, very, very high degree of freedom. Norway and Sweden, by the way, Carl, I think we can agree that we are very similar in a cultural way. I mean, we're very similar. We're both very free nations. We have a high degree of freedom here, and we are also very proud of who we are. So, the bad nationalism happens when democracy have died. Okay. Because when a dictator, like, for instance, Erdogan or Putin or any of the other guys there, when they One of the tools that they use is creating an enemy, because to have control of the people, you need to have an external enemy. So they create an enemy, and because a dictatorship like an autocracy like the USA is becoming now, it's not going to be effective. It's not going to be successful. That's in the nature of that, of the makeup of the autocracy. So they need to point at someone external and say that they are to blame. You are poor because of those people. Someone easily identifiable, maybe an other ethnic group, another religious group, another nation. So it was done during the Soviet era. They would point at Western nations and they would say that look at those people. They are so well. You could take all the talking points from the American MAGA people. Now, actually, that's the argument. That's the same arguments that were used by the Soviet Union leaders when they were pointing at the West and they were saying, "Oh, there's a word I'm searching for here in my head. They are morally bankrupt. They are indecent people. I mean, look at them. They are sexually deviant and so on and so on." That's what they would say, you know, about the West, because they needed to have an external enemy and they needed the people to believe in an external enemy. We are seeing that now. Now, Mr. Trump is is making new friends. These people in their wearing frocks, you know, the men in dresses. What are they called? What are they called? Oh yeah, yeah. The Qatari people, the Qatari men. Yes, very rich men there, because of oil. Without the oil, they would have been nothing. They would have been nothing, nothing at all. So yeah, but anyway, here's the question: are we moving away from democracy? And if I get a fucker here coming now saying that, oh, America is not a democracy, I'm going to I don't know what to say. I, I don't know what to say, because I don't know why. That thing there, it annoys me. It just annoys me. Okay. Are we moving away from democracy and towards dictatorship? Is this the age of dictators that we are seeing? What do you think? Yeah, I was talking about the sheikhs, of course. They are Oh, we got one here. Shown of America is a republic. When the school system, you know what? I don't. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Go back to school, study, find out what a republic is. Then go back to school again and find out what a democracy is. You will find that a republic is the framework for a nation, while democracy is a process. Democracy is a process. If you vote for representatives, you have a democracy. This should not be difficult to understand. Okay. Do we have any KP Heathen? If you're still here, just get rid of those comments because I really, it's a, I really can't see them anymore. I'm just getting so tired of them. Democracy is not voting for representatives. Fucking hell, you people. What's fucking wrong with you? I don't know. I don't know what to say. Okay. So, by the way, Carl, do you want to be a moderator on this channel? Hotep, do you want to be a moderator? Let me know. So, let's mention some states here that have become that have become autocracies. Now, an autocracy is a state where basically one person decides. Okay. Okay. Let's get rid. Carl, thank you for that. Let's see. And Hotep, thank you so much. Let's see here. Yeah, just get rid of those comments. We can't spend more time on that concerning the USA not being a democracy because it's a republic. It's just we can't go there. It's no. Okay, so here's the thing. Turkey was like the shining light of democracy and freedom in that part of the world, right? Well, you could say some of Turkey is part of Europe, but it was. Then came, then we have Erdogan now, who is basically a dictator. I've talked to people in Turkey, and they are saying that it's not good, because he is a dictator. Now, Russia. I'm old enough to remember perestroika and glasnost, those things, and it looked like it was moving in the right direction. Then came Putin, and even Putin, he seemed like he was like moving Russia in the right direction. But then I think something changed there. So it's very obvious what they are trying to do now. And Putin is a dictator. Let's be honest about this. Africa, you know what? I don't know Africa well enough to talk about it, but it's a very interesting continent. It's misrepresented on the map because it's shrunk because of Mercator's projection. It's actually much bigger if you see it on a globe. And I really don't hope we have people here that believe the Earth is flat. But anyway, there are some states in Africa that are, democracy is very successful. I said before that I believe Africa is the future, but also there are countries there that have suffered under autocracy, of course. Sorry. China is obviously ruled by a dictator, the guy that looks like Winnie the Pooh. It was never a democracy. Well, actually, if we go thousands of years back, I don't know Chinese ancient history well enough to say that, but in modern times, China was never a democracy. And we could go on and on and on. The interesting question here now is what happens in the USA after Trump. Because you need to be completely ignorant if you can't see that Trump is acting more and more like a dictator. And that's the interesting question here. It is something that should worry people, even if you agree with the things that the current administration in the USA is doing, because it really hasn't anything to do with that. Now, some of you will, of course, understand that there is a reason why I'm making such a big point out of this very American attitude that, oh, the USA is not a democracy, it's a republic. Because, and this has been written about by political scientists and so on, quite a lot actually. It comes from a place, I can't remember where now, but it comes from that attitude, comes from a place of, how shall I put it? There is a movement in the USA, and you have to believe me on this, and you can go and check it yourself, double check. There is a movement, and I was surprised when I first learned this, a movement in the USA to get rid of the democratic process, and they are pointing at the Constitution, and what they are saying is like a knee-jerk response when you say, well, you're a democracy, you have to protect the democratic process. They will say, oh, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. This is being used by the current administration. And people need to wake up. People really need to wake up. An interesting question is, could the USA become a theocracy? Could the USA become a theocracy? Another question is, what happens after Trump? I think personally it could go either way. It could go back to a more democratic state or country, or it could go further towards further further down the path of autocracy. So this is why it annoys me so much when people refuse to understand that the USA is a democracy, because you still use the democratic process to elect representatives. It's extremely important that we realize what's happening now. And Sharp Canines, thank you for reminding me. I was just going to talk about it. Project 2025, heading towards theocracy, not democracy, as I was about to say, theocracy. So let's just play with that thought a little bit. What if the USA does become a theocracy? A theocracy, by the way, is a nation ruled by religious law. Religious law. So that would be like the Muslim version, or the Islamic version would be, Afghanistan. And historically speaking, Europe was ruled in the same manner. combined then, of course, with the feudal system for centuries. Um, it's a really scary thought. It's a really scary thought if the USA would become a theocracy. You would probably still have elections, but those would be mock elections because the religious law would ban the parties, the political parties that go against the law, right? As you can see, for instance, I believe in Turkey. So, I mean, this is kind of important. And what would an outsider of the USA, what would the world look like if the USA has become a theocracy? You would probably see coalitions being built with other theocracies. Oh, wait, that's what we are seeing now. You would probably see oligarchs flocking around the leader, the dictator. They always do. And there is no free market anymore because it's an oligarchy. When I went to university, we learned about the oligarchy. Interesting, very interesting. And oh, wait, that's what's happening in the USA now. I mean, come on. It's quite obvious, is it not? It's quite obvious. So, and it's when you look at the USA now, it's like it's so sad because you're seeing a minority. It is the minority who voted for this. Out of all was it 30 something percent out of all the people in the USA who could vote that voted for Trump now. And I'm kind of guilty, and I regret nothing because I said that I would have voted for Trump as well. And you might be surprised, but that's, you know, I must say I am a little bit surprised that it got this bad. But from a European perspective, that's a different discussion and one that my stance on that provokes a lot of people. But it's to put it very simply, Trump's policies towards Ukraine has probably lowered the risk of nuclear war. That's basically priority number one on my list. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. It's not fair at all. But I care about not having a nuclear war because I don't live so very far away from Ukraine as a Norwegian. But that's a different discussion. But I must say that looking at the USA and what's being done there now, it's a horror show. It's basically a horror show, and this is how a democracy dies, and it's being played out in real time right in front of your eyes. It's obvious corruption right there in front of your eyes. And I saw a comment from some idiot here on the other live stream about the two Air Force One airplanes that will be given to the state of the USA, US of A, by the Qatari royal family. And it's been given to the state, so it's not corruption. Come on. It's obviously corruption. I mean, it's laughable. People who can't see that, it's just laughable. But anyway, so I'm finishing very soon here because I have to edit a video, a Viking video for my main channel tomorrow, a video that very few people will watch. I know that, That's just how it is on this fucking idiotic platform. Um, so yeah, I mean, are we moving into the age of dictators? I think we are, and I think it's kind of sad. And I think that you know, at this point, we are basically moving back to. It's sad to say this, but a natural state of human existence, which which is basically you have a very tiny, hyper rich elite, and then you have all the poor people, and that's us. And don't give me that. Oh, you're rich because you're on YouTube. No. Um, and what can we do? I don't know. Yes, I said our natural state, Hotep. Yes, thank you for reminding me. What I mean by that is not that it's our morally correct state, or it's a good thing. But if we look at human history, democracy, having the people, giving the people the right to vote, giving women the right to vote, and giving people freedom is not, looking back at human history, it's not what how it's used, how it has normally been. It's a modern thing. It's a modern thing. So basically, I think we have to go back to the time when we were hunter gatherers, because back then we did have personal freedom, but it was a very different way of living, of course. And then you had centuries upon centuries with overlords ruling. You had this is a very very quick history lesson. You had a feudal system, and then you had industrialization, and then quite recently we had an effective democracy. We had power to the people and all of that. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I'm saying that it's not our natural state. Um, it's the best way of organizing society, giving people the right to vote, giving people freedom, having a constitution which contains basic human rights. I mean, our Norwegian constitution um, gives people basic human rights, and it's the same in Sweden. I mean, this is a good way of organizing a society, the best that we have come up with. But I think it looks like we're moving away from that. That's what I mean. So let's see. Yeah. What can we do? If you go to Russia right now, it's a little bit difficult. But I was driving around in Russia, and I saw in the countryside this. You will see people having these little huts out in the countryside, summer places, and they have a kitchen garden. They all have a kitchen garden. They all have a kitchen garden. So that comes from that's a tradition going back to the time when you couldn't get food in the grocery stores. I have myself in Ukraine. Hold on. I have myself. That's my alarm there. Stood in line, and in Ukraine, that was a long time ago, to buy bread. Not even kidding, to buy bread. So I'm that old, yes. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining, and thank you. I'll be back soon. Now I have to do other things.